Right. So today we're here with Paolo Garbanzo, and you actually give tours
I do.
in Europe of castles and play D&D in the castles, right?
That we do. Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty cool. All
That's
right, so
why.
why don't yeah,
I
go ahead. Go ahead.
was gonna say that's I started doing tours, just regular tours, and I do a lot of Renaissance festivals. I'm a performer. I'm a juggler, jester. I'm actually an actual jester of an actual castle. Actually, that one right there behind me. That's just a
Cool.
model, but the real one in England is a big castle. Anyway, long story. Maybe we'll get back to that. But I started doing Renaissance style tours for my fans of Renaissance fairs. So we go to Italy, we go to England, all these various places, and kind of study the Renaissance history because those are what the people are into. Well, a lot of those people are also gamers. Big surprise, right?
Right.
So we were doing a tour, and I had at least six people who were like, because I would say things like, this little town here, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it's actually one of the towns. I kind of just stole this town. It's in my campaign. It's in my homebrew world, and basically this is that town where all the crazy wizards live. And they were like, wait, you play D&D? I was like, well, yeah. And then we could have just had a game right there because I had seven people who were just like, stop the tour. I want to play D&D with you. And that was like, well, why don't we do that on the next tour? So I started creating tours that are, we play D&D each night. We go still see castles and standing circles and all sorts of cool stuff. And then we play D&D, and each of the scenarios are something that we saw either that day or the day before, and they get integrated into the campaign of the 6 days that we play D&D. So
Nice. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm sure my son will love that too.
it's pretty wild. It's so much fun, and we really get into it. And some of the places we go, they'll set up archery, and so we get to actually shoot bows and all sorts of stuff, and we get to do all those things that one of the things that actually got me thinking about it, and I think it's how it actually started the whole conversation, was I was in a castle in Wales, and they're partly together but partly ruin, and you're looking down the shaft of this what was once a spiral staircase, but all that's left are these little chunks of stone. And I was like, man, you know what you'd have to roll to successfully climb up this thing? And it's 40 feet, and you think your character, sure, just make the athletics check. And I'm like, that is scary. That's really, really, like, you need serious strength, serious dexterity, and some serious skill. And I was like, how do we impress upon players that this is a really like serious thing? And I was like, well, what if you could take your players to this castle and go, all right, guys, remember that stairwell. Also remember that hallway, remember this passage. And then when we're playing the game, go, yeah, remember that stairwell we saw today? Okay. Yeah, that's a DC 20. Come on.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
That's a stairwell that we're seeing right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh man. But it's been great. So
Cool. All right, why don't you give us a little, you gave us a bit of history here, but why don't you give us history how you got started playing and, go from there.
whew. Well, I started playing when I was 10 years old, and we had basic Dungeons and Dragons where Elf was a class. That's right, kids.
Yeah, I
Elf
remember
is a
that.
class. So
Yeah,
is
the
Dwarf.
old,
Yeah.
the old rule book, I had that. It was the, what is it? Oh, I forget what it's called now, but it was basically the simple edition. I forget what the heck it was called.
Basic. Yeah, just
Basic,
basic.
yeah, the basic edition.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep, I had that.
Then we
Rules
had
Encyclopedia.
Yeah, then we had Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We didn't call it first edition back then. It was the only edition. So we just called it the edition. And we had Thaco and we liked it. So
Yeah,
you kids today and you're
wasn't anything else.
that's right. We had negative AC and it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we started playing. I was, my brother was the dungeon master. I was the younger brother, and then eventually my friends, I started DMing, and we'd all DM back and forth. But eventually, people just my group, people just said, we like your campaign. It's kind of balanced. It's not too crazy. I mean, it's fun. It's exciting. It is crazy in that respect, but it's not like everybody gets a +5 sword. It's like you had to work for those magic items, and they were like, oh, it's exciting when you have to really work hard for those things, and then you're like, I got this thing. It's so cool. And then
Yeah.
so but then I have to say I got away from it as I started becoming a professional juggler, which end up jugglers get hired on the weekends. So nobody needs a juggler on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So my regular gaming group, they all had regular jobs. I was like, hey guys, want to play on Wednesday? They're like, are you kidding? And so I kind of got away from it until I was well within the like Ren Fair community. So then suddenly, I say suddenly, after about 10 years, everyone that I knew is somebody who works on the weekends. So then playing on Wednesday was a thing again.
Yeah.
And
Makes it
so
easier.
yeah, so we started doing that again. But I mean, there was a huge gap in like, I mean, I left the world of Dungeons and Dragons at second edition, and then we didn't really, I wasn't really in the community. I used to go to conventions, used to do all the things,
Yeah.
and then I was like, I'm booked on
Yeah.
weekends. Now I have to say that with the D&D tours and the more stuff that I'm doing, the show on Twitch and all the other things that we're doing now that are incorporating my love of Dungeons and Dragons into something that can actually make some money, because I can't. I gotta have a gig.
Right.
I've been incorporating that, so I've been able to go to Gen Con. Finally, my childhood dream come true. I got to go to Gen Con last year. It was the first time, and I was all set to go. And so I'm there. I'm doing shows and I'm promoting the tours. And I was supposed to be there this year, and of course we did a